To understand Detroit, you have to understand the ground we stand on. Detroit isn't built on a standard grid like New York or Chicago. It's built like a wheel, and every street tells a story of survival, growth, and a little bit of French history. Hey family, it's your girl Monife, your Detroit neighborhood expert and storyteller. Today, we're zooming out. We're talking about the Woodward Plan, the French ribbon farms, and why Detroit has cities tucked inside its borders. If you've ever wondered why our streets tilt toward the water, or while 8 Mile is mile zero for some and a boundary for others, this is for you. Long before the cars arrived, Detroit was a French fur trading post. Back then, the river was the only highway that mattered, to give every farmer access to the water for transportation and irrigation. The land was divided into ribbon farms. These were long, narrow strips of land, sometimes only a few hundred feet wide, but miles deep. When Detroit started to grow, the farmers turned these farm paths into streets. That's why, if you look at a map of neighborhoods like the Gold Coast, the streets aren't perfectly north and south. They tilt to stay perpendicular to the curve of the Detroit River. In 1805, a massive fire leveled the city. Everything was gone. Judge Augustus Woodward, yes, that Woodward, saw the opportunity to rebuild Detroit as the Paris of the West. Inspired by Washington, D.C., he designed a hexagon plan. He envisioned a series of massive circles like Grand Circus Park, with wide avenues radiating out like spokes on a wheel. He wanted 200-foot wide grand boulevards to prevent fire from ever jumping across the street again. While the city eventually gave up on the complicated hexagon, it was just too hard to measure perfectly. The spokes remained. There are 5 main arteries: Woodward Avenue going woodward towards the forest, Michigan Avenue heading west to Chicago, Grand River leading to Grand River in Lansing, Gratiot, the road to Port Huron, and Jefferson, the scenic route along the water. As the auto industry exploded in the 1910s and 20s, Detroit began a massive land grab, annexing townships to the north, west, and east. But 2 cities refused to join: Highland Park and Hamtramck. These cities were already established hubs for Ford and Dodge. They had their own tax bases, their own identities, and as Detroit grew around them, they became enclave cities, completely surrounded by Detroit. So when you're driving up Woodward and suddenly see the street signs change color, you haven't left the area, but you technically have left the city. Finally, we have the mile road system. In Detroit, we measure distance from Campus Martius downtown, that's point 0. 8 Mile Road is exactly 8 miles north of the city center. 7 Mile, 6 Mile, or McNichols, and so on create the horizontal grid that defines our neighborhoods like Palmer Woods, just south of 8 Mile, or University District. When I walk a client through a home in Boston Edison or Corktown, the layout of the streets tell us about the age of the home. If the streets are tilted, we're likely in old French land. If we're on radial spokes, we're in the heart of Woodward's original vision. If we're on strict north-south grid plan, we're in the newer parts of the city that was annexed during the auto boom. Understanding the map helps you understand the lifestyle. Do you want walkable, radial energy of downtown, or the quiet gridded stability of the outer neighborhoods? If this deep dive helped you see the city in a new light, let me know. What's your favorite quirk about Detroit's layout? Tell me in the comments. Ready to find your place on the map? Whether you want to be near the river or up by the mile roads, let's talk. Call or text me and let's find your home in this extraordinary city. I'm Monife with the MK Realty Group, and this is In Detroit with MK. See you on the next block.